when I first moved here, they're like, "Oh, so did you go to school on a camel?" I'm like, "The Boy King was the nickname they gave King Tut when he first took over ruling Egypt, and he was given the name Boy King because he was, I think, 13 years old when he took over reign, and so they called him the Boy King."
Welcome to another episode here at Empire is the Way. Today I have an amazing young man, a fighter, fighting a southpaw. He's gonna hit you with a totally different style than somebody who's fighting.
Gravitate a lot more towards the aggressive style of fighting, like Mike Tyson. If you want to get the tickets, come watch me fight at the Hard Rock. Hit me up on my Instagram, Monty the Boy King. And Steve, thank you so much for having me on this great podcast.
Welcome to another episode here at Empire is the Way. Today I have an amazing young man, a fighter, a warrior since 2013, undefeated. He's been fighting, and just like I think every man right now in this society, we're all fighting for something. But this is really cool because he's making a transition from boxing to bare-knuckle fighting. He won those fights, and now he wants to really take this professional boxing to another level. So today I got Monty, the Boy King, with me. And yeah, he's here, man. Welcome, brother.
Appreciate it, Steve. Thank you for having me.
100%, man. So I've been watching you for a few years. You know what I'm saying? Been watching you on the training camps. I watched you, kind of like go from the boxing to the bare-knuckle. Your first fight on bare-knuckle, you laid the guy out, KO, cold-blooded. Congrats on that.
Thank you so much. So
I just want to kind of touch in and really get your story out. You know what I'm saying? And tattoos, fitness, and business, that's kind of what my take is, but you actually fall into two big categories. One is tattoos, the other one is pretty much fitness. But through the fitness, you're a warrior, you're a fighter. So I kind of want to highlight that first, get to know the fighter and understand you a little bit. So if we could get started, like the Boy King, what's that about? Where does it come from? What's the story with that?
So the Boy King was the nickname they gave King Tut when he first took over ruling Egypt. And he was given the name Boy King because he was, I think, 13 years old when he took over reign. And so they called him the Boy King. And being so that I'm from Egypt, born and raised, I saw it was very fitting that I am the Boy King.
The first time I heard that, I was like, wow, love it. So it's not just catchy, it just has...
It's got a ring to it, it's got a weight.
It's got a weight. Yeah. And even though it's using the boy, it's not really about a boy. It's really like, it's almost like becoming a king. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot to that. Okay, so we got the Boy King. All right. Why fighting? Like what about it? What drew you in? How'd you get started with that?
I couldn't really give it a specific description. Growing up, I've always been infatuated with the idea of being a warrior and, physically fighting and, just standing in a ring and feeling the glory of defeating another man. And ever since I could remember being a little kid in elementary school, when they have you write these essays, what do you want to become when you grow up? I didn't, of course, understand the weight classes and stuff, but in my essays, I'd write, I want to become heavyweight champion of the world. But, with that being said, I always had the vision of becoming a world champion fighter. And I fell in love with the art of it at a very young age. I think it was 11 years old when I first really started, taking a liking into fighting. And I started looking and researching up fighters, and I became infatuated with Muhammad Ali and what he stood for and his style and his elegance in and outside of the ring. And so to me, he was a big idol. And then from Muhammad Ali, I started taking a big liking to Mike Tyson. And then my obsession with fighting began to evolve,
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, obviously, I wanted to get into your favorite fighters. Do you think that you take some of their style into your fighting, into your boxing? And what is your style? Is it honed after somebody else or how does that work?
I mean, I would say like every fighter has his own style, But I gravitate a lot more towards the aggressive style of fighting, like Mike Tyson. But I also like to be in the ring and float around like Ali did. Light on my feet and evasive and fight with my hands down. Sort of have like a flashy style of fighting. But I resonate more with the aggressive, head on. Get in there and get out type of fighting.
So nowadays, like, does your coach promote that? The coach that you have now, and
So
who is your coach?
yeah, I'm being coached right now by Danny Organic. He's from Ukraine. He's an amazing guy. He's more than a coach to me. But essentially, what he's doing right now is he's just teaching me ABC boxing so that I'm able to take that and create my own style that I'm comfortable with, where essentially I master the basics and then take the basics and form something that I'm only fits to me. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you're taking putting the ABCs and kind of like probably amalgamating a little style from
Everything,
from everything?
Yeah, you try to be a sponge. You don't want to be a one style fighter, because a one style fighter, he's a defeatable fighter. He can be
Right.
defeated, because if you stick to one style of fighting, then you have an issue of running into other fighters who can fight on the outside, who can fight on the inside, fighters who could box, fighters who could brawl. So you wanna have different artillery.
So, I guess when fighters, a lot of people don't know, but like for example, when you're fighting a southpaw, he's gonna hit you with a totally different style than somebody who's fighting. I guess
It's completely
orthodox.
mirrored. It's the most
Right.
annoying thing in the world.
So is that's something that we hear all the time? It's like, damn, I'm fighting a southpaw, or I'm fighting. Is there a particular style that you're like, damn, I really don't like this style, and you kind of have to do more work in to be better in?
I mean, I would say, yeah, traditionally Southpaw stance is a little bit more annoying to fight, because your jab hand is right in front of their jab hand. So you're always trying to play a chess match of who's able to let their jab off first and who controls the fight using their jab. And it's also like a game of circling, because when you're facing a southpaw opponent, you want to stay out of their left hand, because their left hand is the power hand. So you always have to circle to your left, and they always have to circle to your right, because your right hand's the power hand. So it's always like who's trying to gain control of the ring. And you have to be faster, because you're always in danger when you lean inside of getting caught with the left hand. So it's like there's a lot that goes into it, as opposed to fighting an orthodox fighter. I'm not saying it's like fighting orthodox fighters is any easier, but it's a little bit more, less demanding on the brain, because it's just pretty much basic fighting. There's nothing to it. It's the man with the better skill that takes the win.
Is it more natural at that point?
It definitely feels more natural, because you guys you're more or less mimicking the same type of moves, as opposed to somebody who's just mirrored.
So let's say you have a kid watching, and they're like, oh, I don't know, maybe I should go to college. I want to be a fighter. They're kind of like in between. What would be your advice to somebody who wants to fight but is unsure?
I say, if you pursue your bliss, the universe will open doors where there were once walls. So if there is something that genuinely brings you happiness and it gives you a feeling of fulfillment, you should pursue it at any cost. Just because society has put a norm where people have to go to college and get an education, or people have to work a 9 to 5, it doesn't mean that you have to abide by those rules. I think that everybody was put on earth to live their purpose and live their truth, and live the life that God meant for them to live. And so if you feel like fighting is your calling, or being an artist, or being a musician, whatever brings you joy and happiness, pursue it, because that is where you will feel the most fulfillment, the most rewarding feelings, and you won't have to work a day in your life. You just wake up every morning and do what you love to do.
So follow your bliss, but I guess in the world of fighting, because you're going into the warrior mindset, it's not so much just doing what makes you happy. This is also a dangerous sport. You could really put yourself in harm's way.
Of course, yeah.
So from that perspective, I mean, as far as that goes, I mean, that's something that you say, hey, it's just part of the game, I guess.
What, like getting injured and getting hurt?
Because you're putting yourself in harm's way, I guess.
There's definitely a lot to consider when you fight. But as a fighter, it's just one of those things where you accept it. You know, it's like you take the good, the bad, and the ugly for what it is. You know, because the good times they outweigh the bad times so much more. You know, the feeling when you win and crowd is chanting your name, and you know you've overcome adversity, nothing comes close to that. So if you got to take a couple of hits and you know get injured or get hurt a little bit, it's part of the game. You know, nothing worth having comes easy. So going into fighting, you understand that there will be pain, there will be blood, and there will be sacrifice, but it's all part of a bigger picture and a bigger reward.
I mean, I totally agree. I was just wondering what your
Yeah,
take on that was for sure.
I don't think there should be an easy way out of life. People think that life should be easy and there shouldn't be any suffering, there shouldn't be any pain. I don't agree with that. I think you need to suffer, you need to go through pain, you need to outgrow the pain, and you know, pain makes you stronger. If you go out seeking a soft, easy, comfortable life, you'll be weak.
I totally agree. And that's why Empire is the Way is really about building your empire. And that comes from fitness. It comes from understanding business and how to navigate in the world. And it really is a chess match, right? Like in fighting. So you hear a lot that fighting is like playing chess. You got any type of...
Yeah, of course. So when you're playing chess, you're always trying to outthink your opponent, right? You're trying to think of all the moves that they can make and the moves that you're going to make. And fighting is similar in that way because you want to be one step ahead of your opponent. If you want to throw a jab, you want to make sure that if they're going to throw the jab, you got either slip and counter it or get out the way. You always want to have a plan before taking that shot. You know, just as the same thing as in chess. Before you move a pawn, you want to make sure that your opponent can't get you out of the way. You get what I'm saying? You want to think of every possible outcome with your move and make sure that there is a way out of it.
So always a step ahead.
Always a step ahead. If not, 2-3 steps ahead.
I was going to say, I think what is it in chess, a grandmaster is like 15 steps ahead or something.
Yeah, they're always there before they take one look at the board and they've already figured it out.
Right. That's nuts. So your next fight right now, program. Can you tell me a little bit about your training camp? What you're trying, like what are you? Without saying too much, and obviously what you can. It's literally around the corner, right? What weight class are you fighting in? How do you feel? How do you feel right now? What's your confidence like? And what's your training camp like right now?
I'll be fighting at 147, welterweight, I believe that weight class is in boxing. And my training camp's been going phenomenal. You know, my last fight was March 22nd. I got through that fight. I won. And then I took 10 days off. I flew out to Colorado. And after 10 days, I went right back into training camp, training in the altitude with my coach and my teammate, Jeremy. And it's been fantastic. I'm in a great place mentally. I feel strong physically. You know, I feel sharp. And training camp's been going incredible.
So for a boxer, a fighter, nutrition is always important. But for a person, like for example, when you're working out, they're like, oh, you know, in order to build muscle, 80% of the workout is what you eat. Is it the same in boxing?
I feel like
it's different.
I feel like nutrition is important regardless of what you do, because what you eat eventually determines how you perform overall. You know, whether it's you have a day-to-day job. You know, if you're eating junk food, your brain's going to be foggy. You're not going to be able to think clearly, and you're not going to be able to function as well as you want to function. So diet is very important across the board, like whatever you do, you know. And in boxing, I think nutrition definitely plays a massive part because, you know, you have to cut weight, but also you don't want to do it in a way where it depletes your body of all the necessary vitamins and minerals you need to be able to conduct these tough workouts that are going on for hours, multiple times a day. And you need to make sure you're consuming enough protein and the right type of fat, you know, the right type of healthy carbs. And nutrition definitely plays a very vital role in it. It's different from bodybuilding, of course, because, you know, when you're bodybuilding, you're just consuming as many calories as you can to put on mass. Right. But with boxing, what you want to do is you want to eat the right amount of calories, also in a way where you're able to drop weight properly through, you know, a tailored program.
So, for example, what does your nutrition look like? Because typically a lot of carbs, keto diet.
I'm working with a
you?
nutritionist right now. Her name is Megan Murphy. She's been doing a great job keeping me on track. She just gives me a meal plan that I follow throughout my day, and it consists of a breakfast like my breakfast meal before training. Intra workout meal, which is something like an intra workout snack, is something I have in the middle of my workout, and then usually whether a protein shake or something like that after, and then I go into lunch, and then a snack before my second workout, and then dinner. And so she's tailored for me a program that fits my goals and my training habits, and it makes it easier for me to keep track of my weight loss and be on weight for the fight.
So I heard you say your second training. So right now you're doing what? 2 trainings a day?
Mm-hmm.
How many times a week?
6 days a week.
6 days a week.
5
so
or
you
6
got
days a week.
12 solid training camps, or 12 trainings per week.
Yeah.
And these trainings, how long are they typically?
So my morning workout usually it starts at 11 and I end up finishing at like 2:30, 3 p.m. I'm done. And then my night workout is typically an hour, hour 30, just some cardio,
Cardio at night.
strength and conditioning, stuff like that. But morning workouts mainly focus on boxing and drills and stuff.
Since right now you're 4 weeks away, June 7 is the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing a lot of sparring right now? Are you
now,
sparring heavy?
this week I started my sparring.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sparring twice a week. And in between those days, I'm doing mitt work, heavy bag work, combat school, which is like drills you do with partners. And I'm just trying to get as much, time in the ring as possible before the time where I actually have to fight in the ring.
So how do you pick a sparring partner? Let's say, do you pick them based on who you're about to fight, similar styles, or you like to kind of shift it around?
I leave it all up to my coach. My coach would tell me get in there with anybody, and I'll trust his judgment and spar with him. Like for my last fight, I was sparring with the number 10 ranked 147 pounder in the world, and I was sparring with him for my pro debut. So like whoever my coach tells me to get in there with, I'll just get in there with him because I trust his vision and I trust his knowledge. Like if he puts me with somebody, it's because he wants me to learn something from that specific sparring. He wants me to work on something specifically in that sparring. So whoever he tells me I'm sparring with, I'm just, all right, coach, whatever you say.
So that takes a lot of trust. You really have to build a relationship and kind of really like let go and
yeah, I really trust my coach a lot. He's been through a lot with me, and he's been there for me through a lot as well. So he really has proved to me that whatever he does is for my best interest.
So the difference between bare knuckle training and boxing training, what's the difference? And how being in a boxing match, I would assume is a lot more, I don't want to say civilized, but
there's more composure.
There's more composure there. But in bare knuckle, you're kind of like trying to survive or trying to kill.
Yeah, bare knuckle to me comes off as like it's a brawl. It's a tough guy sport. It's there's very to little boxing skills used because it's a completely different sport. You can't compare bare knuckle to boxing because you have these great MMA fighters who did great in the MMA ring when their boxing came up, but when they were put against bare knuckle fighters, they didn't perform as well because they thought it was going to be a boxing match, and it's complete opposite. It's everything's very fast, everything's very sudden. You have 2 minutes and it's just a brawl. There's no really finesse to it, as opposed to boxing. You're able to measure your opponent, use your head movement, use your footwork, throw combinations. Bare knuckle is just you want to get the guy out of there as fast as you can because you don't want to take bare knuckle damage. It's not fun.
So I'm thinking from the boxing to the bare knuckle, right? Mm-hmm. You've gotten hit a few times in the bare knuckle. The difference between getting hit through bare knuckle, like you said, is not fun because it's more damaging.
Bare knuckle is more lacerations, a lot of cuts, a lot of bleeding, broken bones, as opposed to boxing. Think of it this way. Getting hit with a bare knuckle is like getting shot with a BB gun. And then getting hit with a boxing glove is like getting shot with a shotgun. The impact is so much heavier from a boxing glove than a bare knuckle because a bare knuckle is just a sharp, stinging shot. Mm-hmm. And a boxing glove shot is just, it shakes your entire brain, So they actually argue that there's less damage in bare knuckle as far as like your brain and your conscious health. And I agree with that because bare knuckle, once you're knocked out, you're knocked out. In boxing, you can have a concussion in the fight and you carry on fighting and you keep taking more damage for 12 rounds, So as far as like longevity, I think there's more longevity in bare knuckle because the fights are shorter and there's not so much brain damage. But as far as like aesthetics and cosmetic appeals and stuff like that, bare knuckle is a brutal sport because the cuts you need stitches and it's permanent.
And it would seem to me that it's more lucrative for the boxing career rather than a bare knuckle. The bare knuckle career is probably more shorter at some level.
I haven't. Yeah, I mean, I've never really thought of bare knuckle to me as a career. I was sort of just presented the opportunity to fight at a big stage at a young age, and I took it. And as far as which is more lucrative, I think in the long run, boxing definitely is more lucrative. I don't think there will ever be a bare knuckle fight that pays as much as a boxing fight. You have fighters like Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis. They're seeing upwards of $10 million a fight. Canelo's fighting this weekend. He's making $35 million a fight. I don't think there will ever be a bare knuckle fight that pays that much.
And it's on the pedigree of the fighter, how much they've built, and all that stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you think nowadays makes a fighter the most valuable? Is it the shit is it the trash talk? Is it the way they perform in the ring? Because you see fighters like, for example, like McGregor. I mean, granted, he's in UFC, but he's a fighter. He has lost the last couple of fights, but yet he's still, he'll bring all the fans. So is it really the character, charisma, the shit talk? What is it?
Is definitely a lot of it. Definitely has to do with your character, your charisma, your relatability, and your shit talking, of course, because you want to be an entertaining fighter. Nobody wants to come watch a boring fighter who can't talk shit and who can't back up what they say.
Right.
So definitely your persona and your charisma plays a big part of it, but also how you perform in the ring is massive. Because if you're just if you're sloppy, you're not sharp, you don't have finesse, you don't look good when you're fighting, nobody wants to see a sloppy fighter. You want to make sure you look good. You want it to be a performance. Fighters are not just fighters, we're entertainers. So you want to put an entertaining fight that excites the fan and is exciting to watch.
What's the philosophy of Monty as a fighter, as a man, as a warrior?
My philosophy is just live your true self, because we were talking before earlier, authenticity. I feel like nowadays we live in a world that lacks a lot of authenticity and a lot of, genuine energy. Everybody's trying to be something they're not. And I believe that just live your truth, and whoever you are, whatever you're doing, as long as you're living your truth, you'll go way further and touch more people than pretending to be something you're not. I think that's my philosophy. Yeah.
What do you think about the saying, fake it till you make it?
I mean, yeah, it applies, but to some extent, you could fake it till you make it in the sense where, like, I was watching there's this little clip of Conor McGregor where he was talking about how in his first couple of fights, he was wearing a fake Rolex, to the press conferences and stuff. Cause you want to look the part, you want to fit the part, you want to be the part where people are like, oh, look at this guy. He knows how to dress. He's got a Rolex and all that stuff, but he never faked his personality. He was the same person from start. But when they say fake it till you make it, it's applicable because if you can conceive it here, you can achieve it. If you can see it in your mind, you can actually bring it to real life. So if you have to fake wearing a fake Rolex, or a lot of people out here the way fake diamonds and stuff, if you got to fake that, so be it. It's at the end of the day, it's all a relationship between you and yourself. You're everybody here, nobody knows what's real, what's not anymore. There's just so much jaded illusion that nobody knows what's real and what's not. So it's at the end of the day, it's between you and yourself. So you can fake it till you make it. You could be aware that, all right, this watch on my hand is fake, but I know that one day this watch will be real, and that's faking it till you make it, But then some people just rock that fake watch and go around and be like, oh, look at my watch, and they're flexing with a fake watch. Like,
right. They're looking for to be
attention. Yeah, they want attention.
All right, so that's pretty good. Like I wholeheartedly agree with that. That's definitely.
Yeah, fake it till you make it is definitely applicable in many ways, but just don't fake it to the sense where you're obnoxious. Don't be too fake.
Right, and then there's another one that says, I think that's applicable. It says, fake it till you make it. if you fake it till you make it too long, you'll be fake when you make it.
Yeah, you see, that's exactly what I was trying to say. You said it, you worded it better. If you don't want to be fake.
I didn't make that up, but I did hear that.
Yeah, you don't want to be fake for too long because you can't tell what's fake and what's real. You know,
Right,
if you
right.
if you fake it for too long, eventually what becomes what's black and white becomes gray. You know, you can't really tell the difference.
You talk about people who are genuine nowadays. Like, how do you tell somebody's genuine from your perspective?
It's really hard to tell nowadays because almost everybody has an agenda. You know, people have mastered the art of deception. You know, they'll come on as friendly and super giving and, you know, super loving and, oh, I want this for you and I want the best for you. But as soon as they get what they want from you, it's just a switch is flipped and it's complete different. So it's really hard to tell who's genuine and who's not. But I believe that I'm a firm believer in spirituality and energy. And you know how you can read people's energy. People radiate certain types of energy. You know, people radiate red energy. People radiate blue energy. I'm a firm believer that you can't fake energy. You know, like I could be having an encounter with somebody who's swearing to me that they're the most genuine person in the world, and they put on this act and they try and fool me for months. But if their energy does not radiate with me, your words can only go so far. You know, you can't fake energy.
It seems like the first person who says I am certain way is probably the last one to be that way.
Yeah, I've never really come to find anybody that says or boasts about how they are to be actually true. I think that people who really are genuine, they don't have to talk about how genuine they are. Their actions speak for themselves. You know.
Yeah, I have this mantra with these words that you shouldn't say, like bad words. And I think it applies to this because typically two of the bad words that I say, these are words you shouldn't really have in your vocabulary, is always and never.
Mm-hmm.
Because the one who say I always is the one who never, and the one who say I never is the one who always. So it's kind of like one of those things, you know, bad words you shouldn't say. So I've always kept that, you know, I wholeheartedly agree with that. So cool. What's the vision? Like, what is the goal for Monty? Let's say right now you're 24, correct? Mm-hmm. So right now, I know that you're allowing your coach to guide the way, and you know, who knows how long that's for, whatever the case might be. But what is your goal in the boxing world?
I want to become a world champion by the age of 28.
So you got 4 years.
I got 4 years.
So by the age of 28, world champion. How does Monty get to that goal?
Just staying consistent, you know, trusting the process and doing what I'm currently doing right now, putting in the work, not taking any shortcuts, showing up every day, believing in myself, believing in God, and believing in my coach. You know, I got to stay active. I got to stay busy. I want to fight at least 3 more times this year and carry that same type of, you know, work ethic throughout the next 3 years. And then by the 4th year, I would have built a good enough record to get a world title shot.
Right now, you're undefeated. Mm-hmm. Does that play a psychological kind of weight? And you're like, well, I got to stay undefeated, or how is that affecting, you know, because typically I think the record is a big deal, at least in the community. Are like, oh shit, you know, this guy's never lost a fight. I guess that should kind of play some type of weight, or you don't really care about the record at all. How does that play out?
I mean, the record definitely is important because keeping a clean record makes you more favorable and makes you the more likable fighter, and it's just a better look. But you know, this is boxing. If God forbid I were to take a loss one day, my losses don't define me. You know, it's what I overcome and what I get through my wins is what really, you know, people point out. Like there's this statistic of I'm not sure if it was Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, where he missed a crazy number of free throws, but you'll never hear anybody talk about how many free throws he missed. You'll talk about how many game-winning free throws he took or how many game-winning points he scored. So I don't think that losses define you. I think losses is part of any journey in life. Is how you handle the loss that really determines what's next.
So I think it applies to both players for sure. But so that kind of segues into mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Mindset. How do you gain that competitive edge, that mindset that keeps you not only believing in yourself but consistent? Like, what are you doing to get that to continue multiplying?
Essentially, like what motivates me.
Essentially, like pretty much, like because I mean, so I'll use an example. Like for example, I like to listen to a lot of other podcasters, different people, motivational type of things. But when you listen to like the Goggins, for example, he talks about that unbreakable mindset. And he's got this thing where it's like you mentioned before, you go through pain and suffering, and then from there you build the mental calluses to continue. So I guess every time you hit that bag, every training session, you get a step closer to becoming pretty much unfuckwithable, right? Like it just the consistency just grows. Is that accurate? Because how do you maintain that mindset of like just I believe in myself no matter what? Because I see, I feel that you radiate that, and I don't think a lot of people have that. So how do you obtain that?
I think that mindset was instilled in me since a very young age because I've had to face a lot of adversity as a young kid, and it taught me a lot about myself because I've had some very very dark moments in my life where there was no one else to save me but myself. So it really showed me what I'm capable of accomplishing with my mentality. Like I would just I refuse to give up, no matter how bad the cards I was dealt. I'm gonna make something out of the situation I'm in. There were times I remember where I was working at this boxing gym. It was like took me almost an hour to get there every day. I catch the bus. I get up an hour early, catch the bus for an hour there. I get to the gym. If the bus is not working, I remember one time I literally got up like at 4 a.m. just to start walking so I can make it to the gym to get this sparring. So if there's something I wanna obtain and something I want to get done, I will do it regardless of what the issues are. I have no problem, rolling up my sleeve and getting to work. I have a do not quit mentality. I just don't know whether it's something I learned or I was born with it, but I feel like is a product of everything that I've experienced in my life, all the adversity I've faced. It's really shaped that mentality in me where it's like, all right, you're having a bad day, so nobody gives a fuck, get up and get to it. It doesn't matter.
Did your father give you any of that information?
My father was a very tough man. My father is he's a very, manly man. He does not believe in, being weak and giving into your weakness. So definitely he played a big role in that. He shaped that mentality in me and my older brother. Coming from Egypt, it's completely different cultures. Growing up in a Middle Eastern family, the relationship you have with your father is not very what's the word? It's not like the common relationship here. Your father is the head of the household, so you got to show him respect in every way. And my dad, he played a massive role in forming that, aggressive, relentless mentality in my brother and I. Because my dad, he wakes up every morning at 3:30 a.m., goes to work, comes back at like 6 p.m. 365 days of the year. He does not take a day off. Never seen him take a day off. Never seen him complain. Never see him, wake up to work in a bad mood. No, he'd get up regardless of the weather, rain, cold, whatever. He's up and at it at 3:30 a.m.
That's the old school, man. Kudos to your pops. That's very respectable, commendable. And I honestly think that society is missing a lot of that nowadays, because people are lost. They don't have a rite of passage. It seems like you're earning it every day through the fights. And just me knowing you, I know that you are, you know what I mean? So it's definitely good to hear that, because I think a lot of people are missing that. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that. So whether whether it's bad or good, like at the end of the day, it's necessary. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So kudos to your pops. Shout out.
Shout out
To
to
pops.
Yeah, shout out to
The
pops.
OG.
Yeah.
The OG. So, favorite fighters? You mentioned Mike Tyson. Mentioned Muhammad Ali. Is there anybody else that you are kind of shaping your style with that you like to because at the end of the day, I think that you are. I don't know if you are, but do you have a like? Are you a fan of particular fighter fighting nowadays, or whether it be style, money, whatever the situation is, or just how they keep their life together?
Um. Yeah, for sure. I think that anybody who steps in the ring is someone who commands respect. So I'd say I'm a fan of all fighters. People who get in there and risk their lives for the entertainment of others and to put food on the table for their loved ones is definitely respectable. So as far as like certain fighters that I gravitate more towards to and respect more, I like David Benavidez a lot. He's a monster. The way he fights and his tenacity and his aggressiveness, absolute monster. He'll go in there with anybody and just dominate them. I like Gervonta Davis a lot. Tank. He's very popular right now.
What do you like about Javante?
His aggressiveness and his finesse. He's very clean with his boxing. He's a sharpshooter. He knows where to throw the shots. I like his defense, his footwork. He looks good when he fights. Who else? Devin Haney actually gained a lot of my respect after his last fight. That was a tough fight for him, and he still kept getting up after being knocked down so many times. Because most people don't understand how hard it is to get back up from being knocked out like that. And he just finished the 12 rounds, so he gained a lot of my respect. And I really admire the way he carries himself, and he always puts God before anything, and he's very humble to himself in that way. So, I mean, any fighter that is humble, has good work ethic, is family oriented, believes in God, is a fighter that I favor. Because those are, at least for me, those are my, my my own morals and my ethic. That's the code I live by.
So you mentioned God 3 times.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about your connection or your relationship to God and your faith a little
My
bit?
relationship to God has been newfound. I wasn't very close with God over the last couple of years, and it took a period in my life where I lost everything to rekindle that relationship. I was living a lifestyle that wasn't sustainable, so to say, and it was just not something that felt fulfilling to me. It was a very shallow lifestyle. It was not rewarding. It was, make money quick, spend money quick. Money that comes fast goes fast. So it took God. I didn't take God. God just decided to, let me put this kid in a position where he loses everything. So he feels that as though he needs me back in his life. Because at one period in my life, I felt so disconnected from God that I just did not, I'd say I did not believe in him, But after I came to the point where my life just crumbled before my eyes, there was nobody else to talk to or no one else to call to but him. And I started working on my relationship with him, and, praying and talking to him daily. And I started seeing things going in my favor.
So you think he's on your side, or you think you're trusting the process more?
God's always going to be on your side. We are all children of God, so he's always going to want you to do good and be good. So definitely, I know I believe that I'm in God's favor, and I'm grateful for it. And I'm starting to realize, as the days go by, that I was given this gift. I'm not really able to pinpoint exactly what kind of gift it is, but I know that I was put on earth for a purpose. And that purpose is not just fighting. Fighting is just a vessel for me to serve that purpose. But every day I'm realizing that I'm here for a greater reason. And through fighting, I'm able to, expand on that and get a clearer vision of what is it that God wants me to do, whether it's, spreading light or spreading joy, or, touching people and helping them. It's I'm still trying to figure it out.
I think you still have a long career to go. So at
I
the
mean,
end of the
yeah,
day,
definitely. I'm 24 years old. Every day is a new opportunity to start fresh, learn something new, shape your life. I like to say that life is a story and you are the author. You hold the pen in your hand every day. The story can read different at any point.
you got to be the hero of your own journey, right? So I have a couple of. I want to also guide this into some tattoo talk.
Mm-hmm.
I see you got some tats. Obviously, we've been together with this tattoo journey.
Mm-hmm.
But before I do, right now you're a fighter, but I think you're also learning what it is to deal with the business side of fighting a little bit. What is the business side of a fighter look like? Because one of the things that I've always heard over the years, and it goes from Tyson to almost every fighter, Canelo, everybody was like, oh, there's always disgruntled fighters because there's lack of understanding of the business side. So is there something that you're doing to kind of like, what, I gotta get up, I gotta get my P's and Q's on this business type of stuff? Is there stuff that you're trying to stay away from? You're learning more on the business side, things that you found out that might have been a little tough.
The business aspect of fighting, as a fighter, I don't want to just be given the title of a fighter. Some people are some fighters just not good. Like, they're not good anywhere outside, but besides the ring. I don't want that to be an issue for me. I want to be able to conduct business inside and outside of the ring. I want to be able to sit down on board meetings, open my own businesses someday. So what I've noticed that you have to do in order to achieve those things is you just got to be educated. You got to be well-spoken. You got to be appropriate. You got to have manners. You just got to be somebody that people are able to talk to, someone that a CEO was comfortable to have a conversation with, someone who's just easy to get into business with, the business side of boxing, I haven't really experienced much of it right now because I'm still building my career, but I've experienced a little bit of it as far as, negotiating sponsorships and ticket sales and, promoting myself and talking myself to promoters to put me on the cards and stuff like that. But eventually, as my name starts to grow and my fights start to grow, I'm going to have to get more involved in the business aspect of it.
So if people want to find you and they want to buy these tickets, where's everybody going right now? How can they find that? How can they support you? What's your main what is your main traffic?
My social media page, my Instagram page, Monty the Boy King.
Want to put that out for everybody to check it out.
That's my social media handle. And for my fight, you can just get at me directly for tickets because I have the tickets in hand. Last time I tried using Ticketmaster, where people had to go in and type my code to get the ticket, but a lot of people did not type my code, so they just got the ticket.
You didn't get no credit for that?
I didn't get no credit at all. A lot of people showed up, which I appreciated very much, but this time I want to make sure I get the credit for it because promoters want to put fighters on the card that are able to bring out a crowd, and they want to have their seats filled. Nobody wants to come put a fighter on a card that's not going to fill seats. So I have the tickets in hand. So if you want your tickets, get at me at Monty the Boy King. Send me a DM.
You guys already heard it. Make sure you hit them up on Instagram. Get those tickets before they sell out. So in the beginning, a fighter, I mean, I would assume as you're building your career, it's like anybody trying to build their career. One of the things that you have to do also partly is kind of like help out with the promotion of yourself in the beginning and get that ball rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Is that factual? I mean, that's something that you
100%. Yeah, everything is self-conducted at this point until you have a team behind you. Being a fighter in the beginning stages is very difficult because it's not just fighting that you have to take care of. You have to put out content. You have to promote yourself. You have to sit down on meetings and, you know, sell yourself to these businesses, or, you know, as opposed to once you've already built a name for yourself, you have people who do that for you. But no, as of right now, it's just me, my coach, and my gym that we're trying to, you know, facilitate all these things while focusing on training and while focusing on getting ready for the fight and while cutting weight and stuff like that.
All right, so there's a lot of work. You're just not fighting. You're also promoting.
It's not just fighting. It's never just fighting. Even at the top, it's never just fighting. Like you have these world title fights where they have to go on a fight tour, where every day they're in a new city promoting the fight. You know, showing up to public workouts, you know, press conferences and stuff like that. So it's never just fighting. You know, all of this is just, so to say, preparing me for the big stage. You know.
Yeah, and as I guess as you progress, you'll be doing different types of venues and different ideas for your own promotion, and obviously, you know, always put your name behind. That way, you get the most bang for the buck, right? In your time. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, obviously, that's important. So, as far as the tattoos, you got the Pyramid of Egypt right there on the side. Right here. Yep. What does that mean to you? Right there?
That's just a symbol of where I come from. You know, what is Egypt mainly known for? The Great Pyramids of Giza. So I felt it was very fitting to put that on my face. It was actually one of your ideas. You're like, hey, bro, why don't you put the pyramid on your face? I'm like, you know what? That looks good. Put it on there.
If I remember correctly, I think you said, I want something on my face. Was it that?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, let's do the pyramid.
Something.
You had something else, I think. No?
This was my first tat. No, this is the first tat you done on me. The Eye of Horus. This right here. And then this was my second tat, which is crazy because a lot of people usually they start their tattoos with somewhere hidden, or
I think I told you that. I said, bro, you sure you want to go to the face?
Yeah.
And you were all about it. So
yeah, bro. I mean, once I believe in myself, you know, that's it. There's no going back. It was sort of like another way to you know, instill in me that this is the life you chose. Every morning I wake up in the mirror, take a look at my face, I'm like, there's no going back. You know, this is it.
And on top of your eyebrow?
Yeah, this is the crook and flail. That is a symbol of authority. So in ancient Egypt times, when they bury the kings, they'd have them hold a crook and flail. They're like two staffs, and it was a symbol of authority. So I feel like that resonates with me a lot because I feel my energy is very dominant. You know, when I the way I just carry myself, it demands respect, and it comes with respect. With respect comes authority.
Absolutely, I second that. 100%. Which is the most impactful tattoo that you have? The most meaningful?
It would either be the Eye of Horus or the falcon on my chest.
Because you do have so on your chest you have the falcon from shoulder to shoulder. Mm-hmm. What does that one mean?
The falcon of Horus it basically symbolizes divine kingship. You know, where it's
Can you break that down a little bit?
Yeah, divine kingship is basically the right of ruling given to you directly from God. You know, it's authority given to God for you to be a ruler. So I believe I the way I carry myself in my head and the way I see myself is that I was put on this earth for a purpose, and my purpose is you know, to carry myself as royalty. I am a king within myself. You know, so that tat resonates a lot with me because I feel like I said before, God put me on earth for a reason, and I'm growing every day to become that whatever version God wanted me to become.
Hence the boy king.
Yeah,
absolutely. What's next for you as far as the tattoo world? Like, I mean, do you have plans for
I personally want to get inked out entirely. My mom would have a heart attack. But
didn't she already? Because you already got all these tattoos. What did she say when you came? And you're like, look, Mom.
See, here's how I played it. I got these tattoos, and I told her at the beginning that they were temporary.
Oh.
And I told her, and then I got her name tatted on my neck. And then when I got her name tatted, I was like, all right, these are permanent.
How did she take that?
It was sort of like, you know, she took it with a grain of salt because I told her I got her name tatted on my neck. So it was like a gesture of, you know, a nice gesture. So she was not very happy, but she was okay with it.
It's funny how our moms play such a big role, because when I was 15, I got my first tattoo and I got a set of praying hands because if I came home and my mom saw it, at least it's like, you know what I mean? It's, you know, somewhat religious, like a good tattoo. So I remember that. I 100% like relate to that, man. 100.
Yeah.
I was hiding it for like 2 weeks. I was 15 years old, bro.
It was crazy. I mean, also, especially coming from a Middle Eastern background, tattoos are such a taboo thing, you know, like not many people back home have tattoos, let alone face tats and stuff like that. So it was definitely a big step for me to take.
You said you left Egypt to come here. How long have you been in America from Egypt? Or did you go somewhere else prior?
No, I've been here for about 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
So how did you get the English language, the culture? Did you learn a little bit over there, or you came straight like not knowing and you just kind of had to build?
No, I was very fortunate to have private schooling. You know, my family in Egypt is very well off, so I was very fortunate to get a proper education. I went to an American school, and I was very familiar with the culture here before moving. You know, all my teachers are American, and a lot of them were from New York and Florida and all over the U.S. So from the age of as far as pre-kindergarten to about 9th grade, I've always had a westernized education.
So it was an easy transition, so to speak?
It was and it wasn't, because I left Egypt and I left everything I knew, all my friends, all the relationships I've built over the years, and I came to a completely different country, no friends, and it was just very hard to fit in because, you know, I was still trying to get a feel of what is, you know, okay here and what's not. You know, what do people resonate here and what people don't resonate here? Because, yeah, I grew up in a private school and a Western education, stuff like that, but my community and my culture around me is very different. You know, traditions back home in Egypt are very different. So it was sort of like a little difficult to adjust, but we adjusted.
You came here 14 years old, kind of 13, 14,
15.
15.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So it's been like 9 years.
This July it'll be 10 years.
Were you a fighter in Egypt? Were you getting into shit in Egypt?
I mean, yeah and no, because I was always worried that my pops would beat my ass for getting in fights, but I was definitely scrappy. That's actually where I first started training boxing, was in Egypt, and from there I just fell in love with the sport.
What's Egypt like? Did you live like by Cairo, by the pyramids, or?
I live right in Cairo. Yeah, you can see the pyramids from the city
every day.
Yeah, when you're driving through the city of the pyramid, people think that the pyramids are out in the desert somewhere. Like, I've been asked some crazy questions, being that I'm from Egypt. Like, I don't know if people are serious or not, and if they are serious, I'm very disappointed in the American education system. Because people ask me, like, when I first moved here, they're like, "Oh, so did you go to school on a camel?" I'm like, bro, you can't be for real right now. Like,
probably not.
You live in a tent? I'm like,
but maybe some people do think like that.
People definitely do think like that.
Right,
like, they were asking me that question with, like, actually, like, do you have a camel at home?
Right,
do you guys have AC? I'm like, yeah, bro, we got AC. Egypt's cool.
So one of the things, to me at least, you know, I'm big into space cultures, love the Egyptian culture, and, you know, kind of like also what came before that, Atlantean and all these stories that you kind of fall in love with.
I know. I feel like I know where you're gonna ask me.
But no, I was just gonna ask you is, what is it like to see? Because I'm assuming that from what I've seen, every special that I've seen, the city is right next to the pyramid. Mm-hmm. So like literally you see them. But what is that like? Is there like some type of, you know, is there energy? Is there a vibe? Is there something like that? Because that's one of my things, man. I really want to go see.
There definitely is an energy when you're around the pyramids. 100%. You could just feel it. It's just indescribable. You know, it's I can't explain it. It's just something you could feel it in your bones I visited the pyramid plenty of times.
Inside? Did you go inside or
yeah, you can go inside, but at some point you just can't go inside any further because oxygen cuts off. Mm-hmm. There's actually these like crazy stories where they're like people try and go inside the pyramids and they've sent drones in there and like RV cars to see like what the structure of the inside of the pyramid looks like. And usually the drones don't come out and the RV cars don't come out, and there's a certain point where you can't exceed it because oxygen cuts off. So people are like, how the hell did they build these tombs in there? Like, and there's so many unanswered questions about the pyramid, which is infatuating to me.
I've been down the rabbit hole, so
I can see you talking about the pyramids for hours.
100%, man. 100%. So as far as the tattoos, though, I want to know what's your vision for the ink and how has it affected your life? Has it affected your life in a positive way? Does it give you inspiration? Because you said sometimes when you look in the mirror, you see it and you know it's real. So has it changed your life for the good?
I mean, it hasn't changed my life for the bad. You know, I don't regret any of the ink I got on myself. I'm proud of it. You know, it symbolizes who I am. It's part of me, and I think it's maybe I might get some more work done in the future to put more of my story out there. You know, my ink is my story. You know, it symbolizes something about me. You know, and I could definitely use my tattoos for a lot. There's a couple things, couple ideas I have in mind that I don't want to put out there yet, but I could use my ink for a lot.
I'm sure we'll get into it at some point in the
Yeah,
future.
at some point.
100%, bro. So, one last question. The dating scene here in Miami.
Oof.
Oof. What is it? How can you give us a little bit? Because I mean, I guess you know you're a good-looking dude. You're out here. You know what I'm saying? Fighting, being a warrior. What is it like? You know what I'm saying? Just compared to other places, or compared to Egypt, or this is just a different monster. Because I got my.
It's a different monster, bro. Miami's a different monster as far as the dating scene, and honestly, I try and stay as far away from that as possible because the energy and the attention and the time it takes is just something I can't afford right now. You know, dating in Miami is not a simple task. You gotta be ready for what it comes with. You know,
it's a whole nother war.
It's a whole nother. It's a whole nother war.
It's a whole nother war.
Yeah, it's not easy to date in Miami, especially with with all the competition out here. You know, like I feel like girls nowadays are exposed to so much so fast that it's hard to impress anybody. You know, like for example, say like I bust my ass to get this brand new Rolls Royce, right? And I'm worked my ass off for it, and then here comes this 45-year-old millionaire. He's just been loaded with money for a while. He's got 4 or 5 of them things. And if I take a girl out and she's already been in the Rolls Royce for her like plenty of times, so it's just another car. But to me, like I've really worked hard for this and I'm trying to impress this girl. And then she's already been exposed to this and used to it. So it's like it takes the excitement out of it. As a guy, I feel like you want to be the first for a girl in many ways. You know, you want to be the first person to fly her out. You want to be the first person to give her this experience. You want to be the first person to show her a lot of things. You don't want a girl that has experienced a lot already, because in a guy's life, it's certain things are monumental, you know, and you want to have a partner there with you to experience these monumental moments. So it's a lot more meaningful. And I feel like girls here in Miami, they've just been exposed to so much that it's hard to you know, give them these special moments. Otherwise, a special moment is fucking like 200-foot yacht
that you, as soon as you go to the port, you see them. They're everywhere.
They're
right?
everywhere.
So
Miami's got crazy money, you know.
Yeah,
but it's exciting to live here because it just it keeps you in that mentality of, you know, everything's out there. It's just waiting for you to come get it.
Yeah, that's something that I've been here for over 15 years, and you know, one of the things I like to say is, hey, when you see the mansions, when you see the cars, when you see everything out here just out in the open, it also puts you in a place where it's really out there. Somebody has gained it and it's possible. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So the more you see it, the more it's attainable.
100%.
You know, and
100%.
I think just being around it helps a lot. And obviously the competition is high in all these other variables when it comes to females, getting money, fitness, business, the whole 9 yards. So I just think we're fortunate to be able to, like, first of all, be here, understand that, and grow from it, and become.
Yeah, you never want to be the biggest fish in the pond. You know, you always want to seek improvement and have worthy adversaries. So to keep your level and your game at A1, you know, you always, if you reach a level where it's like, all right, I'm sitting at the top and there's no one else around me that is pushing me to become better, then you sort of like start getting bored. So you want competition around you all times.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. That's how you kind of get into that position where you're building the best version of yourself.
Keep yourself sharp at all times. You know, you always got to look good, dress good, you know, feel good, because you're in Miami. You know, it's no joke.
100%, man. So is there any advice you would give to a young version of you, or what kind of advice would you give your younger self, um, just in life, general, overall?
Trust the process. Just trust the process. You know, trust the good days, trust the bad days. Everything's happening for a reason. Everything you go through is shaping your character. It's part of your character development. It's very important. Just trust the process. Don't lose focus. Don't doubt yourself. Just believe and you will achieve.
So this has been very enlightening. I absolutely am 100% with on your side. I can't wait to see you knock somebody out and keep on building your career, man. I think you have an amazing personality. You're an amazing fighter, and obviously, I can't wait to see how much more you grow in the other conversations we're gonna have and the other moments we're gonna share, man. It was my absolute pleasure. So, can you just repeat where people could find you so they could, you know what I'm saying, get these tickets, get them while they're hot, come watch you fight and support?
For sure. If you want to get the tickets, come watch me fight at the Hard Rock. It's going to be a crazy card. You do not want to miss this one. Hit me up on my Instagram, Monty the Boy King. And Steve, thank you so much for having me on this great podcast. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. And
Thank
all
you,
day,
brother.
every day, Empire is the way.